we don't always have enough time to cover all of the recent news, so here with the recap is one of our writers, Amber Ruffin, in a segment we call Amber Says What?
Things have been crazy. Okay, so recently the state of Texas had a winter emergency, and I was like, what? Texas had a winter emergency? Oh, Lord, we done broke the earth. Then I found out that this caused millions of Texans to go without heat or water, and I was like, what? Then I found out that it was at this exact moment that Texas Senator Ted Cruz chose to go to Cancun, and I was like, what? Then he blamed his children for the trip, and I was like, what? Then I found out he left his dog at home, and I was like, what? How could you leave a dog at home when you, sir, also are a dog? Now, I know everyone rags on you a ton, Ted, but maybe it's not enough. Look at that dog. Poor thing. How bad do you have it to miss Ted Cruz? Dang. Then something really cute happened. Okay, so this extra fluffy sheep was found in the wild, and they ended up shaving 78 pounds of wool from it. And I was like, what? Well, it's a good thing you got a haircut, because your hair was getting too long. Hey, Seth, did you hear what I said to the sheep?
Yeah.
I said that its hair was too long.
Yeah.
I suggested that it get a haircut.
Yeah, I heard what you said.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Naomi Osaka was at the Australian Open when this happened.
Flying around her, yeah, there it is. A fan yells out, there's a butterfly on your legs, and Naomi Osaka's gonna take it to safety.
I saw that and I was like, what? Isn't that cute? That butterfly is all of us. We all think Naomi's perfect and want to give her a little kiss on the nose. And then when the butterfly wouldn't leave, Naomi gently took it off of her face and set it down. I saw that and was like, what? She is so sweet. Because if a butterfly landed on my face in the middle of a really important thing, I'd have just smashed it because butterfly. Then the funniest thing in the world happened. A Texas attorney during a trial could not get rid of his Zoom filter. Look.
Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I saw that and was like, what are you if you aren't a cat? You sure look like a cat to me. I am not a cat. That's exactly what a cat would say, you cat-ass cat. Then I heard a harrowing tale of ingenuity and perseverance. The tale of the Gorilla Glue girl. So, okay, this lady had used Gorilla Glue to do her hair, and she couldn't get it out. And then she was like, what? And I was like, what did you think was going to happen? It's glue. All it does is glue. So she went online and told her story, and everyone was offering suggestions about what to do. And I was like, what could she possibly do? It's glue. Glue gonna glue. And then I, like every other person who heard this story, became obsessed with her. And I needed her to be okay so badly. She was so sad in the video. And it's not her fault. We all did crazy things when we were young. It's fine. Then I found out she's 40. And I was like, what? Oh no! Then a doctor reached out to her and said, I can remove it for free. And I was like, what? But then he did, and her hair looked perfect, and I was like, what? And then a whole nation rejoiced, like, what? Then I found out that these two are gonna have a second baby, and I was like, what? Yay, I love it. But I looked online, and these British people were so mad at her. I mean, they've always been mad at her, but this time I was like, what are you so mad about? That this woman is pregnant? You gonna be mad that a man and his wife are having their second child? I wonder what it is about her you don't like. What could it possibly be that has those British people so on edge? What about her contribution to the royal bloodline has them angry? Well, we may never know. Then the Britney Spears documentary came out and people were all like, Free Britney, crying and stuff in the little Free Britney t-shirts. And I was all like, what? Then I watched the movie and I was like, what? Get me a t-shirt. So, okay, here's what happens. Like, her dad had control of her money and stuff, and she refused to perform until that stopped. And I was like, what? Then it happened. They went to court and her dad lost financial control in her conservatorship. And I was like, what? Even though I still don't fully understand what a conservatorship is. Like, this girl is almost 40 and controls nothing of her life. If anyone needs a conservatorship, it's Gorilla Glue Lady. Then everyone was like, did you see the new United States Postal Service mail truck? And I was like, what? No, why would I? And then they were like, you gotta see it. And I was like, what? But then I saw it, I was like, what? What happened? Did this truck drive through the space-time continuum? What is this? What are you delivering? The Pope? Who designed this truck? Homer Simpson? What even is this? You know what I think this truck is? Well, wait. How beautiful! A butterfly! I'm gonna get it. I got business to do. I killed it. This has been Amber Says What?